Welcome back to another episode of the Career Confidence Podcast with myself, Georgie Hubbard, and Pamela Caldwell. Welcome back.
Back in the seat again. Thank you.
Now, we are recording this the Christmas week, and it's crazy time. You know, busy time for the mums out there. So Pam's finding some time in her busy schedule in between wrapping up Christmas presents
and thinking of a new idea for Elf on the Shelf every night. Usually when I'm tucked into bed and comfortable and think, I forgot my cheeky elves haven't done anything yet. So yeah, it's a busy time, but honestly, also my most favourite time of year. Magical, fun, friends, family, food, wine.
Yeah.
Excellent. Love it all.
You do love it. You do love it. But so obviously this episode will come out just after Christmas, right? So we're probably not at the stage yet where people are starting to think about setting themselves up for 2025. But when you are listening to this, Christmas would have been and gone. And I'm sure you'd have had an amazing time and hopefully got some beautiful memories and maybe got some nice presents and experiences bought for you. And now you're probably starting to think, okay, Christmas is over now. Is coming up to a brand new year. And I know this is how I feel. It's like everything's about building up to Christmas. And it's like, I can't really sort of think past Christmas, Boxing Day. And then that sort of like, once all that sort of excitement of all of that sort of starts to die down, my next thought is, okay, what is 2025 going to look like? So that's what today is going to be on. So yeah, Pam and I wanted to sit down and really think about that and make sure that our community is set up for success. We're setting ourselves up for success. So we're recording this podcast to really offer as much value as possible, but also tell you what we like to think about, how we like to think about the new year, how we like to reflect and think about what's coming. So 2024, what a year. I think the first thing we need to do before we start thinking about 2025 is reflect.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say 2024. And look, actually, do you know what? Like, I think this is what I used to have a habit of doing, right? And I'll just be really honest and vulnerable now. I used to have a habit of sitting down when I was sort of thinking about my goals and what I want to achieve the following year and focusing on all the things perhaps that I hadn't achieved the year before, right? And I think that's the really easy thing to do, right? It's like focus on, I didn't lose the weight last year. I didn't do that fitness goal last year. I didn't achieve that financial goal last year. I didn't have that promotion last year. I didn't get that pay rise I wanted last year, right? It's like, let's not start 2025 with that energy, right? The past is the past. We can't go back and change anything. But I am sure that there is something, if you wanted to be, you could be proud of. You could be like, okay, these are the things that I am really proud of. These are the areas of my life, of my business, of my career, where I have made huge progress. And I also like to think about goals, not just when it comes to career, finance. I like to think about all areas of life, family, friendships, health, spiritual health, emotional health, physical health, like finance and business, right? I feel like when it comes to setting goals, I'm now more intentional around all the pillars of my life, not just one area of my life. Because as soon as you focus all of your attention onto one area, that is a lot of expectation. That's a lot of energy just to pump into that. And life isn't just about one thing. It's about lots of different experiences, lots of different pillars, lots of different areas as well. So before we go into 2025, super important to sit and ask yourself, what are you proud of? So Pam, what are you proud of in 2024? Before we start this brand new year, what's a few things that you feel like you did really well this year, just gone?
Right, but the first place that my mind probably went to was like maybe more on a personal note. So I think like if you guys sort of follow the podcast, you'll maybe know that I had a baby just a couple of years ago. She's now 2.5 or two. Oh, she'll be 2.5 at Christmas, right? But I have went on that sort of journey where when you get a newborn, you sort of forget about yourself for a while. You know, the flamingo loses its pink, loses its feathers. All your sort of focus goes on the baby, your family, and your own sort of health and wellness takes a wee bit of a back seat. I had been sort of full steam ahead between career, family. And there was actually a midway point this year where I actually got pretty unwell. I got like a flu and it absolutely floored me. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to sort of figure out why I ended up completely floored. I was not looking after myself in the best way. But I've sort of hit that stage where my baby is no longer a newborn. She's a toddler. And that means that other people can sort of step up and help out. And I'm happy to sort of step aside. So honestly, the second half of this year, I'm actually quite proud of how I've actually started carving out some time for myself again. I've been getting back into the gym, getting back into a bit of a health and fitness regime, and actually taking time for myself. And that is something that I am proud of, because it's not something that comes naturally to me. I tend to want to do it all. But it was a bit of a wake-up call that sort of halfway through the year when I ended up a bit unwell, and it just like went on for longer than what it should have had I been looking after myself. So I have carved out those habits. And that's one thing that I want to say. It's so easy in the new year to make New Year's resolutions. Please don't make a New Year's resolution. Please carve out habits for yourselves. Think about what small habits can I begin with that are going to be small enough to be achievable, to be able to consistently continue with these and not actually drop the ball after 3 or 4 weeks because you've went too big. So personally, I'm actually proud of myself for carving out some time for myself and making sure that I'm looking after myself on a personal level a little bit more.
Yeah, no, but that's beautiful. And thanks for sharing that, because you did get quite sick, and it's not like you as well.
No,
and I feel like we almost did see it coming a little bit. I think there was a lot.
Exhausted.
Yeah, there was a lot going on.
Completely exhausted. Yeah,
there's a lot going on.
Yeah,
and I think it's really important to acknowledge this. And this is exactly why we do these episodes, right? It's just like, so listening to what Pam just said then, I'm sure like maybe you could relate to that or identify, okay, maybe I have neglected myself this year. And that's the thing. It's like, it's not about setting New Year's goals and resolutions. Sometimes it's just acknowledging, okay, like what do I actually need to continue? What do I make sure that I can't drop? Because that's actually what I've implemented there has been really positive. So one thing that I have got back into the habit of is meditating every single morning. And I'm really proud that I have continued to do that. And I'll be honest, some mornings I wake up and my mind is going a million miles an hour, and I have to really, really try to come back to the present moment. Oh, there goes that thought again. Come back to the present moment. And sometimes that overcoming process is just how my morning starts, but it's a really powerful way to start the morning. Other mornings I wake up and I can go so deep into my meditation. I can come out feeling like I've just been, to all time has just literally escaped me. I just feel like I've been in the quantum for an hour, and I wake up and I go, wow, that was amazing. And I'm also really proud of the fact that, I have continuously shown up every single day and done some form of like movement every morning and really done everything I can to set myself up for the day ahead.
But the reason that both of our minds have probably went to the personal things first is because it's the things that you do personally that allow you to show up as the best version of yourself and have the right energy to show up professionally, especially when it's been a year in terms of the economic climate that we've all operated in 2024. It's been economically driven a lot in sort of business and career. And I'm sure if you work in a projects capacity or a tech capacity, projects have still been impacted by the economic climate. So there's no doubt, I feel like there's no one that's been left untouched by the way things have been in 2024. So it almost becomes more important to get the personal goals. And one thing that I'm going to take away from what you do, you're a really good habit stacker. You stack your habits, but add things on and change them up accordingly. So please do, if you're one takeaway from this little section, create habits, not resolutions. I think that's a really good way to look at the year ahead.
100%. And just before we move on to like setting yourself up for success, the last thing I would say about the reflection is that there's been some really amazing things that we've achieved this year, in our business. Obviously we've spoken in depth about Sister Club, the events, the podcast. I'm really proud of this podcast actually, because again, a lot of work gets put into this podcast, showing up every week. I've been very fortunate to have some amazing conversations this year as well. I've done quite a few solos this year as well. So I've really pushed myself to show up on this podcast every week. And that's something I'm really proud of. But I won't lie, there's been times this year in our business, in our recruitment company, where it's been really tough and we've had to make some really, really hard decisions. And I think it would be really, really easy to just sort of like feel that sense of like, God, like like disempowerment and just being like, oh, this is so tough, like, you know, and that victimization. I feel like we've certainly had our moments. So I'm not going to deny I'm not perfect. I have my moments of doubt, of fear, of concern, but it hasn't stopped us. And we have had, it's still been a really good year. And I want to just sort of hold space for that. And look, anyone who knows me knows I've got very high standards for myself and my business and what I want to achieve. But I've also got to control the controllables and surrender the rest. And that's one thing I'm still working on every single day. It's like, am I showing up and doing the best that I can do? And if the answer is yes, I put my head on that pillow at night and I sleep easy. But I know that the business has probably not generated exactly what I want it to generate this year, just being completely truthful and honest with you. But it has certainly been in a really strong position, certainly more so than what it was the year before. So again, progress has been made. And this is what I said at the start, which is why it's so important to focus on the progress, focus on things that have gone well, what you're proud of, not the things that perhaps you feel like you haven't done as well. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be my sort of like, I guess, key takeaway moving into 2025 as well, is really being intentional of really where I'm putting my focus and energy, because it does have an impact on my mindset, on how motivated I feel. So just focusing on the right things and not the things that deplete me or pull my energy, and focusing on things that I can control. But reflection is key. So take some time before you set new resolutions, you know, or set new intentions, or start thinking about new habits you want to create, to focus on the things that have gone well and what things you want to take into 2025 and what things are no longer serving you and need to let go of. But please do not sit there and focus on all things you didn't achieve, because that's the quickest way of feeling like you're a failure, you're not good enough, and no one wants to start a new year in that energy. So really, really key. But let's move on to the future, 2025. I feel really good about this year. I do. And I know I say that every year, but I'm just going to put it out there. I honestly do feel that we have laid some solid foundations personally, professionally. We've done some great things in 2024, and I feel like we've been planting the seeds this sort of year just gone, and I'm ready to get those seeds
break out of the ground.
Correct. I want to see those
flourish into flowers.
Exactly, grow. But the first thing that I encourage every single person that listens to this podcast to do to set your career up for success in 2025 is, and again, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but it is so important to drum this in, is to make sure that you are leveraging AI and new tech in this new year. And I'm not going to spend too much time on this point, because I do feel like all of the guests I've had on this podcast this year have spoken heavily about AI. We've spoken heavily about AI. We've done multiple podcasts about AI. We've had a sisterhood social around AI. But it is something that if you do not spend time learning about, being curious about, I am concerned for the future of your career. I really, really am. So focus on a couple of courses. Utilize LinkedIn Learning if that's available to you in your place of work. Prompt engineering course, an AI course through IBM. I think it's free still. Hopefully it is. Generative AI, automation, even learn about, blockchain technology, maybe look into some crypto as well if you're interested in investing in something different. But 2025, I think it's going to be the year of tech, AI, and I'm also going to say Web3/crypto. So do not neglect this. Mm-hmm. If you want to get ahead, mm-hmm. You don't need to be an expert, but you need to have a basic understanding.
Yeah. Look, I agree. There's actually so many free courses out there at the moment. Dip your toe in very, very gently. Do something for beginners. I actually think the first couple of weeks in January are a really great time to do that as well, because I don't know about you, but I've probably had one mince pie too many and one bottle of red wine too many as well. So it's really good to get immersed in something to make you feel, oh, right, okay, I do still have some brain cells. Let's grow on this. Let's learn something new. And again, it's just the power of getting your mindset right for heading back into work, for heading back to your desk. So just reignite the brain, do a gentle course. There's so much free stuff out there that could make you feel as though you're kicking off the year on the right foot. You're learning, you're growing. And that in itself has got such a powerful mindset shift to kick off the year with learning something new. But yeah, get involved in the free content that's out there. It doesn't have to be like a massive investment for you. Just the IBM one, I know is absolutely free for the moment. That'll be the one that I will do to kick off 2025.
Yeah. And keep asking yourself the question, what more value can I bring to my space? What more value can I bring to my place of work? What more value can I bring to my friends, to my family? The more valuable you become, the more your career is going to advance in 2025. And the final thing about sort of emerging in trends is like, don't neglect the softer skills, aka the critical skills, the adaptability, the resilience, the emotional intelligence, like the empathy skills, the leadership skills. These are things that you need to double down on. If you have got a weakness in these softer skills, you need to work on them. Communication is going to be so important in this new future of work. You need to be a good communicator, written, verbal. Start putting your hand up, to speak in meetings. Put yourself onto like maybe a public speaking course, but do not neglect the softer skills as well as the harder skills. So these are the two, like almost like two ends of the spectrum. Learn, immerse yourself in certain technologies and get really have an understanding of that, but do not neglect your softer skills, because if you do have an ambition to step up into a leadership role, start your own business one day, these softer skills, like learn the art of negotiation, learn the art of sales, like this is so important for the world that we live in now. So key, because you're selling yourself all the time. We could have two people that we present for an interview, for example. We see it all the time. Both equally technically strong. One person can sell themselves more than the other. Guess who gets the job?
Yeah.
Right? You're now competing against people that the job pool is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying this as a fact. You want to make sure you set yourself up for success. Learn the art of communication. Learn the art of sales. I cannot stress that enough. We're going into a very different world and you do not want to get left behind. So that's absolutely key, right? Point number 2, network. This is going to be really, really important in 2025. You want to be seen inside and outside your organization. You want to be building up your personal brand. When I say personal brand, I don't mean you have to post 5 days on LinkedIn or start an Instagram account or become an influencer. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So what do you want to be known for? What's your area of expertise? How do you want to shine? How do you want to be seen by your colleagues, your boss, your leadership team, whatever it is? How do you want to be seen as a leader? Invest in your personal brand. It is so important. Get yourself out there. Go join some online forums, come to some networking events, come to a sisterhood social, right? But make sure that you are being seen and you're investing in your network in 2025. Post and share a few things that you're learning on LinkedIn, right? But do not neglect this year. It's going to be key. It's going to be a big trend.
I agree. That's actually probably one of the things I'm actually proud of for both of us in 2024. We kept a long-term view with our professional relationships and our network, and we really gave the right level of attention to our clients to get to know our clients on a deeper level. So look, I think it's really important what you touched on there. Your personal brand doesn't have to be about what you post. Like that's not everyone's strength. That's not what everyone wants to be. But one of the things that Georgie and I will often advise is think of networking internally in the business that you're within at the moment. That can be like a really powerful way to try and push yourself out of your comfort zone. Start to try and get to know and network with people in different divisions in your organization. Potentially start with having a goal about how you are internally viewed within your existing company. That's like a really simple step that you can take to grow your own personal brand on a one-to-one level internally in your own organization. And that'll make you become more visible to others and allow other people to know you, your strengths, what your opinions are, what your skill sets are, how you're learning and growing. And it can also be a really easy way to act as an inspiration to others that are around about you on a week-to-week basis as well. So that's a very good point.
Yeah, 100%. So really thinking about also like from that external point of view, think about your LinkedIn profile, make sure that's all up to date. You've got all your right titles, you've got the right information, you've got your keywords, because again, AI is evolving LinkedIn. So if you're going to be looking for a new job in 2025, you need to make sure if you're applying for, say, I don't know, a GM of technology role, a CTO role, a product design role, whatever it is, a BA role, you need to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is all up to date with those keywords, because recruiters, HR directors, hiring managers are going to be going onto LinkedIn. And this is generally what's coming with LinkedIn. Upload the job description onto the platform, and then LinkedIn is going to pull up all of the people on LinkedIn that match that job description. So you want to make sure if you want to get a new job in 2025, find the job, look on the job boards, look at all the skills that are listed on those jobs, and have them clear and visible in your LinkedIn profile. And if you're serious about getting ahead in 2025 and you want to get that promotion, you want to get a new job, stop this podcast now and do that. Because it's no longer recruiters putting bulletin searches into LinkedIn. This is AI. And AI is just going to scrape keywords. And if you want your CV, if you want your profile to be top of that list, you need to make sure that your skill set matches the jobs that you are going to be looking and searching for. Mm-hmm. Cannot stress that enough. That's absolutely key. So networking, building your personal brand is an absolute must in 2025, and really think about what you're putting out and how visible you are online and offline. Leadership. We need more females in leadership roles, everyone. This is key, honestly. So it's now or never, right? We cannot shy away. As women especially, we need to step up and be seen. What do you need to do to make that happen? Do you need to get a mentor, right? Be honest with yourself. Are you struggling with something? So you're looking at people and going, what does she do? What does he do? Right? This is not the year where you play small. We've got, I would say a window of opportunity to really make sure that we are getting ahead, and we need to be seen, and then we need to step up into leadership roles, because this is where all the decisions are getting made about the future of tech, the future of AI, the future of the organization. And I want to see more women at that table making these strategic decisions. I don't want us just sitting there and being told what's coming and what to do. So every single female that listens to this podcast, make it your mission this year to speak up, to be seen, and to work your way into a more senior role. And if you're a female or anybody that wants to support women or anyone in the business, you need to be an advocate for others. You need to support others in the business. You need to sponsor. You need to be in their corner backing them, because I want to make sure that we have enough females in leadership roles, because conversations are going on internally in these big organizations right now. And I don't want those rooms to be full of white men. So we cannot sit back now as women. We need to be in these rooms, and we need to be part of these conversations. Mm-hmm. So you need to back yourself in 2025.
Absolutely. You know what I think could also be quite powerful? For example, if you feel that you do want to step into a leadership role in 2025 as well, it's actually about, speaking with your leader and being visible about that. Who is the person that you currently report into, and ask them about what opportunities lie ahead for the year. Where do they see the gaps being in your team or the wider team? And then make sure that you are asking what types of skills and experience is going to be required to get there. What do you feel that I've not got at the moment? Where do you think that I am going to have to work on? So asking for feedback, I think, can also be very powerful. Now, also make sure that you're asking for feedback from the right people as well. Okay. Someone that you respect, someone that you think does their job incredibly well, right? But frame it out to them, give them time to think, right? Maybe don't ask for that feedback right on the spot, because this is something you want to get information that is really accurate in terms of your development areas that you can potentially work on improving, because sometimes we can actually be a bit blind, to the areas of development that we would actually need to hit in order to move to the next stage. So for example, you might want to move into a leadership role. You might have aspirations to become the next CTO, but you might be in a position where you are not very good at listening. right? If you want to move into that level of role, that's something that you need to work on. And again, a softer skill. You need to be better at listening to people and taking action from the people that you're listening to. It could be something so subtle that you've maybe not identified by yourself. So the self-reflection piece is really important, but also being really intentional about asking the right people for areas that they feel that you could personally work on in order to make sure that in 2025, you secure that promotion.
Absolutely love that. So I think that's really tangible. So it's like go in day one, back at work and be like, right, manager, I want to sit down with you and I want to talk about a development plan of how I'm going to get to the next level. What do I need to work on? What areas can I improve upon? Where do I need training? Where do I need coaching? Take action, get in the driver's seat this year of your career, because it is now or never. Because if you don't do it this year, it's going to delay. And we're going to get this bigger and bigger gap of females that are just playing passive versus all of the key decisions being made. And I want more females in the room. So that's absolutely gold. The fourth tip for getting ahead in 2025 is look, we do already, and I'm saying this for me as well, just continue to work on ourselves, continue to work on our self-belief, continue to work on our confidence and our resilience, right? So we've talked a lot about overcoming imposter syndrome. We all experienced it, right? But I think the best way to build confidence is obviously, number one, I said it before, having the courage.
Yeah.
Let's all have more courage in 2025 to do some things that maybe scare us a little, to push ourselves out of our comfort zone, to do something that we've maybe not done before or makes us feel a bit uncomfortable. I actually think in 2024, you did so much of this.
Yeah.
You put yourself out there so much to speak in public. We spoke at Uni Super, 7-Eleven, David Jones. We ran 3 events, and you are not the most confident speaking in public, but you put yourself in these situations, which is why at the last event, you sat on that stage and you felt comfortable.
I really enjoy that.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is my whole point to every single person that listens to this podcast. That didn't just come.
No.
That did not just come. That was a work in progress throughout the whole year of 2024, right? So we cannot be passive. We need to make sure that we are pushing ourselves step by step to do these uncomfortable things. But the more we do it, the more confident we will become. So whatever you need to do, whether that's waking up and closing your eyes and visualizing yourself, speaking in public or speaking to the room of shareholders or putting your hand up in a meeting, whatever it is for you, but just visualize yourself doing that, because your brain doesn't know the difference between what's actually happening and what you're imagining, right? So instead of imagining the worst case scenario of you stepping out and doing a presentation, falling over, forgetting your words, stumbling, like it all being a big disaster, imagine what would feel like to experience that and for it to go so well. So start your morning with really strong intentions. Who do I want to become today? What would an amazing day look like? Am I becoming this person? And at the end of the day, doing some reflection. At the end of every day, 5-10 minutes. You can write it down, or you can just take 5-10 minutes with a cup of chamomile at the end of the day and think, did I live up to my true potential today? Did I push myself today to do something that made me feel a bit uncomfortable? Right? I feel like we need to build this level of self-awareness and clarity, because from that, we will build up our resilience. We will build up our confidence. And again, the key thing that I always really want to stress as well is celebrate all the wins. This is a big one for you and I in 2025, right?
Yeah.
We're not.
We're getting better.
We're getting better.
We're still not there.
We're not there because we've got these crazy goals, these big standards for ourselves and our business and everything we want to achieve. But it's always coming back to like, hang on a minute, us 6 months, a year ago, God, 5 years ago, would look at us now and be like, oh, you've made it. You're amazing. What are you doing? Right? But it's just so easy just to go, oh yeah, done that now.
Next.
Move on. Exactly. So this is key. Celebrate all the wins, because those little wins build momentum and again, helps us become the person that we want to be. Building resilience. I mean, we're all going to need this in abundance in this new world. The world's not going to get any easier. It's not slowing down. So it's really seeing challenges as opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm in a challenge, I say to myself, brilliant. This is where I get to grow. Because when everything's going smoothly and well, there's no growth in that. Now, don't get me wrong. I like a little bit of that in 2025.
I actually forget how that feels.
But
I've almost got resilience burnout.
Honestly, I think we both do. But we do have that growth mindset, resilience. I'm in this now. What can I control? What can I learn from this? How can I stop this from happening again, or whatever the lesson is? Learn from it, move on. Do not marinate in whatever's happened. We need to move on quick. We cannot stack these things, because it's going to erode our confidence and it's going to make us feel like we failed. And there's no such thing as failure, only the failure to learn. So in 2025, confidence, resilience, adaptability, and we're going to build resilience, and we're going to become the best versions of ourselves. And that all starts with what we think, how we show up, and our level of belief in ourselves. The final point, and you spoke about this at the beginning of the podcast, and we're going to leave on this point, is prioritizing your well-being. We all know what happens when we don't.
Yeah. You cannot show up unless you look after yourself. You just quite simply can't. You can even relate it back to like resilience. You can always show up every day and feel like doing what needs done. And that comes from a personal and a professional sense. But you got to get up and you got to do it anyway. But what can make it easier to get up and do it anyway is when you're actually looking after yourself and you feel good about yourself. So starting each day by doing something for you, whether you can get 6 minutes or 60 minutes, do it. I think when we all feel good internally, that oozes and seeps into every single other area of our lives. And it makes the days feel slightly more gentle, even on the roughest of days. Because when you have big goals that you want to achieve in 2025, like we all do, we want to have a great year, we need to feel good as a baseline level as well. So that the mental health piece is absolutely massive. I think, one thing that I've been really intentional about doing the last couple of months as well is being on social media less. Not because social media impacts me, but because it takes up so much of my time that could otherwise be moments of solitude and moments of silence. So being careful that you're not using like your social media as a bit of a switch off or an outlet. Take moments of silence for yourself, take moments of solitude, and that's when the self-reflection piece comes in. That's when you'll have those moments of peacefulness to think about what you want to achieve and how you're making those little moments of progress. So yeah, it's so important.
100%. And yeah, I think that, prioritizing well-being is so important. And I said it at an event we ran about the idea of having lots of different balls that we're always juggling. And it's like we've got bouncy balls that we could drop and they'll bounce back up, right? So these are like, the email that we need to send, the meeting we need to book, whatever it is, right? Usually work related, something on a to-do list. The laundry basket needs to be emptied, right? Bouncy ball, if that doesn't get done today, it's still going to be there tomorrow. It's not the end of the world. Then we have the glass balls, right? And those glass balls, if you drop them, they're going to smash. Now that is related to your health, right? Because if you don't have good health, you can't show up as your best self. You're going to have to take days off work. You're not going to be as energized with your kids, right? Another glass ball could be your family, right? You don't want to drop those glass balls, right? Because then you're going to be feeling like guilty and worried about your children and all those sorts of things, right? So as we go into 2025, identify what are my non-negotiables? What are my glass balls? What are the balls that I want to keep up in the air spinning that I'm not going to drop this year? So for you, that's family and health. For me, that'll absolutely be my health and my family as well. But obviously, my spouse, my mum, my brother, that precious time for me is really important. Then obviously you've got your concrete balls, right? These are the balls that we can just drop them and let them go. What is no longer serving us? And that could be scrolling on social media, watching tons of Netflix, right? Like worrying about the worst case scenario, panicking about, what we're sort of going to be doing from one day to the next, what we look like, all of that stuff, right? That goes on for our mind all the time. The guilt, the worry, the concerns.
Could also, I think a concrete ball, it actually could be family, friends, right? So reflect on if you're surrounded by people that pull you down.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can walk away from family, but I know a lot of people that, family can be your glass balls, right? But there can also be a little bit of concrete swimming around in there as well.
Absolutely,
And I know some people that have had some family or friends that have been their concrete balls, and they've had to not eliminate them from their lives, but reduce the amount of time and create a little bit of distance. So if you fall into that bracket as well, don't carry around any guilt around that. It's about being aware of it and working out a bit of a plan for you that could eliminate some of that to free up more space for you to be able to focus on yourself.
That heaviness.
Yeah.
So have a think about that. What are my non-negotiables? What are my glass balls? What are the bouncy balls that I don't need to obsess about? Like, it's going to be there tomorrow. It's like, no one's going to die if I don't get that done right now. And what are my concrete balls? What do I no longer want to take into 2025? What do I need to let go of? What is no longer serving me? That is absolutely key. But we need to make sure we're looking after ourselves. We need to remove the guilt about resting and recharging. I used to have a story of, I can only rest when I feel deserving of that rest. And it's a story I've told myself for far too long. It is not a story that I'm taking into this new year. It's something I have worked on this year very much. And gratefully, I now feel very deserving when I want to take a break. And I will be taking a break over the New Year period as well, the first sort of week or two of the new year. But look, that is today's episode. So it is so important as we step into this brand new year to really think about how are you going to set yourself up for success? Implement some of these strategies, these tools. Even if you just take away one thing from today's podcast, make sure you implement it, write it down. But let's just make sure this year is our year. Is the year that we step up, that we shine, that we really make ourselves proud, celebrate all those wins, look after ourselves, and get to this time next year and look back and be super proud of the progress that we've made and the person that we've become. So thank you everyone that's listened to this podcast this year. I am so deeply grateful for you. If you want to give me a little gift this new year, please just leave me a little rating or a comment. It really does mean the world to me. Pam, looking forward to doing many more of these episodes with you in 2025, and we'll leave everyone there.